Us this morning. Hello, Ted.
Hello, Dub.
Thank you for coming in to talk to us today about BC Mainstage Festival coming in just a few weeks here. The first time ever Theatre BC's hosting this festival here in Fort St. John.
Yeah.
Though I suppose Stage North is technically hosting it.
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So Stage North is part of Peace River Zone. Peace River Zone is hosting it. So
Yes, yeah.
we got a couple of theater, actually a lot of theater groups in the north now. But yeah, we have all banded together. And
I see.
totally. So it's a bit confusing though, because it's like stage. So it's Peace River Zone with all the theater companies, Bridge to Broadway, Stage North. There's one in Hudson's Hope now, which is really cool. So yeah, it's all the local companies hosting.
Wow.
I see. Very cool.
I mean, it's coming. Tell us a little bit about the dates and what main stage is in case someone doesn't know.
Totally. So we kind of refer to it, because we're in Fort St. John, this is like the hockey provincials of theater.
Yeah.
So all in May, there was little tournaments all around the province of community shows.
Yeah.
So like there was North Island Zone, there was Okanagan Zone. And so all these plays were competing against each other. The best of each zone has been selected, and now we're coming to the Cultural Center. And then just starting on July 6th, which is a Sunday, each night at the Cultural Center, there is now a full-length community show. So, for instance, our opening night is a show called Hector, actually written by Chilliwack, which is really neat. The next night, new show. Next night, new show. And so that's part of it, is this celebration of theater that goes against each other. And that's kind of weird to have theater against each other. There's an adjudicator who's watching it.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the second part, is during the daytime, there's all these educational things. So if you wanted to take a workshop, say, hey, I want to learn how to direct. The adjudicator and another professional are coming to Fort St. John. They're going to teach you how to direct. There's 3-hour workshops. There's like physical theater. So it's basically a week of theater here in the north, which is really cool.
Yeah, and I can't stress this enough. Most of the time, or actually every other time before this, if it was Stage North that won the Peace River Zone or whatever theater company was, you were traveling to the lower mainland, to the interior, to the island to put the show on if you could, right? So it's very, very cool that everyone is coming to Fort St. John and the Peace region for the first time to kind of see what we're all about here, eh, Ted?
And, sorry, I have
Go
to
for
say, like, very exciting that one of our local plays will also be featured in BC Mainstage, won't it?
Yeah. We got
is it Bluebirds?
Bluebirds with Stage
Yes.
North, yeah. And actually really cool. So there's more. In main stage, so there's these 6 main shows, but then every year they do what's called a workshop show. And so a workshop show is basically on the Monday, this show, we'll do a show, and then that show will work with a professional director for 3 days, and then they'll redo the show on Thursday to go, look how much we've grown. And something really cool is this year, another local show won that spot. So the Freedom Thinkers School did a show called Larceny Old Lace, really funny show. They've applied, they won. And the really neat thing here is, I'm going to say the name Catherine Shaw, and everyone's going to go like, I thought that was a communications company. Catherine Shaw is the workshop leader. She is one of the best actresses in Western Canada. She just led one of the most prestigious acting schools. So those kids at Freedom Thinkers are going to work with her intensively for 4. Yeah, it's mind blowing. And anyone can go see that too. If you want to go, how does this professional work in a rehearsal hall? There's a little bit of a fee, but then you can sit and watch those rehearsals. And like, to a theater nerd, that is gold.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and it's, as you say, very cool because the other plays that are here this week, they'll get adjudicated and they get their coffee critique, but that's probably, depending on their schedule, that's probably it for them, right? They don't actually get to have the second performance, but then this one they do. They actually get to go, okay, we've had these suggestions made, we're making these changes, we're growing, and then they actually get to perform it one last time with all the kind of work that they did, right? So,
It is super cool.
yeah, because that's also a part of it, right, is you watch the play the night before, and then you can go the next day to the coffee and critique, which I think is 10 till noon each day at the Cultural Center, and see what the adjudicator has to say as they work with the actors and the director and kind of the people who put on the previous night's production on, here's what I saw, here's some interesting things we could work on, or whatever it happens to be, Ted.
It totally. And that's the really neat part. And I'm going to bridge into so with that coffee critique, yeah, super invaluable, because you get to see our adjudicators this year is a guy named Rogi, super awesome guy, professional actor in Vancouver. He'll watch the show on the night. The next morning, we'll sit and talk to the actors. And the support that we got from the community, because usually you have to like in past, sometimes you had to pay a little bit to go watch that. But Wilson Concrete stepped up, said, you know what, we'll be the sponsor of that. So if you get a ticket for the night before, free entrance into that coffee critique.
Very cool.
Cool.
Yeah, we've had so many sponsors do that. Like Urban has stepped up so that you can go watch the workshop show and things like that. They're feeding our kids. AAA Safety has stepped up and said we want to throw. Like the community has been wildly supportive, and it makes us cry.
Yeah, amazing. All right, Ted. Well, it's a full week full of awesomeness in theater, and we should quickly say it ends kind of with the gala on Saturday night with the awards and a dinner and all that kind of for anybody who wants to go, I suppose, eh?
Yeah, tickets are available at npcc.bc.ca at the Cultural Center,
Yeah.
and it's kind of fun because it's an award show. There's some entertainment, there's a good meal, and it's just like it's a nice place for us to be. And if you've ever been in the room with a bunch of theater people, it can be intimidating at first because you're like, wow, lots of loud people, but then you start to watch that like everyone is really really kind, and they say, hey, how are you? And a lot of the groups we've reached out and said, like, you're coming to Fort St. John, we have gas stations, it's okay. And they're like, yeah, we know. They're so excited to come up here and meet us. So it will be a really fun time if people just want to jump in.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Lastly, tickets to each of the shows. I know they're a certain amount, but there's also deals if you want to buy kind of a package for 3 and then for the entire run, right, Ted?
Totally. Yes. If you go to now, tickets are through the North Peace Cultural Center.
Yeah.
So
which is where everything that's happening is happening for this. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you want to buy tickets to that, you just go to their website. And like you said, Dub, you can get a deal if you want to get more than one show. Because sometimes people are like, 6 shows, that's a lot. We encourage you to go to the shows, but if you just want to pick and so go to that website, find out those prices because they're fantastic and they're accessible for everyone.
Awesome. All right, Ted, anything else you want to say before I let you go today?
I'm just jazzed. This is really, really cool. I just want to say thanks to Moose FM. You guys are really helping us out. And just thanks, we've had volunteers come out the woodwork to help. We have a volunteer coming from Saskatchewan. We have so the whole city. We just wanted to say thanks because you guys have wrapped your arms and gone, go theater. And that's really neat for a theater kid.
Yeah. And very quickly, if you have some time to volunteer and help out, what do they do? What does someone do?
They should go to their email and email volunteermainstagefsj@gmail.com or just message Stage North because they're one of the clubs helping us.
Absolutely. All right, Ted. Well, thanks for coming by.
Thanks.
Good. I know you're coming by a few more times to talk about this, but good luck in the rest of your preparations for Mainstage.
Thanks.
Is supported by your Member of Parliament, Bob Zimmer. Stop by his office in Fort St. John at 9916 100th Avenue and in Dawson Creek at